Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Nerds with Friends. My name is Cody Leach. As always, I'm joined by Chris Garcia.
I'm happy to be doing the show again, but I'm sad we're not at Comic-Con.
I know. Yeah, we took a little week hiatus to go to San Diego Comicon. We'll be telling you guys all about it on this episode. We're also going to be giving a review of the movie Nope, the new movie by Jordan Peele. New kind of sci-fi UFO horror type movie from him.
We'll do spoilers. Fine.
We'll do spoilers. We'll give our spoiler-free review as we always do, and then we'll jump into full spoilers and analysis. Thank you guys for coming by. Make sure you guys are liking and subscribing. It really helps us out. It's free for you and free for us, but hey, it helps out the algorithm, helps people get their eyeballs on the show. So we do appreciate that.
All the bolas.
All the bolas. And also, you can check out patreon.com/nerdswithfriends. Become a patron today. Get some cool prizes for yourself and help support the show even more. Well, let's start off like we always do with some nerdy confessions where we confess the things that make us nerds. Christian, my nerdy confession is Comic-Con related. This was the first year since like probably 2010, 2011. Like basically since my second trip to Comic-Con that I did not go and do Hall H, which for those of you who don't know, Hall H is the big panel hall where holds about 6,500 people, and that's where they announce all the new cool stuff for Marvel, DC, HBO, what have you. Normally it's quite the process to wait in line for that Hall H. Back when I first started going to Comic-Con, the idea was, if you're trying to get into the panel for Saturday, you would get in line Friday night around 6 o'clock, and you would just kind of camp out all night, and you'd get in at 10 o'clock in the morning the next morning on Saturday and watch the panels all day long until you'd seen what you wanted to see, and then you could bounce and go back to your hotel. Then several years ago, they changed it so that rather than making all those people sleep in line all night long, they would give out wristbands. And they would give out the wristbands the night before. And as long as you showed up the next day at 7 o'clock or earlier with one of those wristbands, you'd be able to get inside Hall H. And unfortunately, what all that meant is that people started getting into line even earlier. So for the past several years, we've had to get in line at 6 o'clock in the morning on Friday to get into Hall H for Saturday.
I feel like we should mention for our international listeners, I know this sounds batshit crazy, but it's very normal in America.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of the going rate for Comic-Con. You're definitely waiting in lines more than you're actually seeing stuff for the most part. And so the reason why I didn't go actually wait in line this time, I did wait in line for a little while, but the reason why I didn't go to Hall H was this year there was several instances of people who had created Reddit groups to kind of organize people waiting in line all day. So we heard instances of the first group in line was 50 people or something, or no, 25 people maybe it was. I don't remember how the math worked out, but it was a group of 20 people holding places in line for 250 people.
Yeah.
And,
I think it was still in their guidelines because one person can hold a space for 5 people.
Right. That's supposed to be the guideline for the Hall H. And so they were still, technically, even though it sounds kind of shitty, they were still technically in their right to do so. But then there was other instances of one person holding a place for 100 people, 2 people holding the place for 75 people. And so, after hearing all that and it getting later and later and later into the evening, I was just so frustrated that I decided to call it. And so
there was another shitty incident, too, where they created a second fucking line.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
And that was they had said at 5 or 6 p.m.
At 5 or 6 p.m., yeah, another line formed out of nowhere. And rather than kicking those people out of line, the Comic-Con officials just gave them all wristbands. And so... and our group had gotten in line at 6 a.m. on Saturday, and they barely got in, essentially. So it was just kind of a disheartening experience the entire time. So, yeah, it's kind of a bummer to miss out on that, but I will say it was also kind of nice getting a full day of Saturday in the convention and not having to camp out overnight. So,
and also we heard from our friends like, oh, you guys didn't really miss out on anything. So
yeah,
it was fine.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you know, and I guess we could go right into how Comic-Con was. This was the first Comic-Con back in San Diego since 2019, you know.
And, you know, I was thinking back in 2019, I remember hearing that there was also a Reddit group that had done that, but it wasn't as ridiculous.
Right.
Like, I think they were doing shifts and they were keeping the ratio that they were supposed to. But the two for 100 and the one for 75 was some straight up bullshit. Like,
yeah, exactly.
So, I blame the... Well, I guess I don't blame the volunteers. Whoever's in charge, the people getting paid.
Right,
at
the
Comic-Con,
organizers.
The organizers definitely need to do something to fucking fix it. But I also kind of fucking blame the people in line. Like, if people in front of us had done that shit, our group would have had zero fucking issues being, you need to get the fuck out right now.
Right,
like,
exactly.
And organizing everyone behind us like, yo, either they fucking get out or someone's about to get fucking hurt or something.
Right.
Because it's some straight up bullshit. So I also do blame the people that are up front who saw it and said nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. But, you know, at the end of the day, the organizers are, you know, responsible for how the process goes. And, you know, they just kind of whiffed it big time. And you know what? It's the first time back in 2 years. Like, I guess I can forgive a little bit of it. But this year just seemed especially poorly organized. So, for instance, you didn't have tickets for preview night this year, but I did and a couple other friends did. And what preview night is normally at 6 p.m. on Wednesday before the convention actually starts. A chunk of people are allowed to go into the exhibit hall, check it out for like 2 to 3 hours. And, you know, it's basically an extra small short day of Comic-Con. And, I mean, it was ridiculous how poorly organized that was. We had our tickets and we had our COVID wristbands. We checked our vaccines.
Which
and
was
stuff.
the best organized line.
Yeah.
It's the easiest and most organized.
I don't know. Do you see how long it got?
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, I was lucky, you know, we got
early.
We went early to go get it. And, so you had to download an app, which everyone should have got an email about it. You had to download this clear app that basically showed that
your picture and your COVID vaccine.
Yeah.
Status.
And then anyone who had the app, it was a separate line, and there was no one there. And everyone who either didn't get vaccinated or I guess wasn't vaccinated but had proof that they
had a negative test, yeah.
That line was fucking huge.
Right. And even the clear app line got pretty big further into the weekend, just by the nature of how many people were there. But yeah, so trying to get into preview night, we went into several lines, and in the front of the convention center, there's like Hall A, B, C, D, all the way down to Hall H, which is, again, where that main panel hall is. And so we tried to get in on Hall G, and because it's nice and centrally located. And they were like, nah, you can't get in here. You need to go up to Hall C. So then we went up to Hall C, tried to get in there. They're like, nope, you can't get in here. You need to go to Hall, D or whatever. We're like, okay. So we go to the next one. And they still weren't letting people in. We're like, what's going on here? So I went up to a guy wearing a Comic-Con shirt. He had a walkie-talkie and a clipboard. Looked pretty official. And I was like, hey, dude.
This is my cosplay. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
We were like, how do we get in to preview night? And he's like, I don't know, man. They haven't told us anything. You should try to find someone who looks more official than me. And I was like, I don't know how you look more official than you. You're wearing a Comic-Con shirt, a clipboard, and a walkie-talkie. And so eventually we find one lady, and she's like, okay, you need to go up the stairs and then down the other side, and then they'll let you in. We're like, okay, that sounds stupid, but we'll try it out. So we go up the stairs, and then once you get to the top, there's more stairs going down, or escalators, I should say, going down. So we go down to that, and then at the bottom of those stairs, it just funnels you outside. And I'm like, wait, we don't want to go outside. And the guy's like, no, you have to. I'm like, okay. So we go outside, and we're like, dude, what is going on? And I go and ask another people. I'm like, look, no one seems to know how to get in here. Meanwhile, it's been 45 minutes since preview night has started, and no one's letting us in. I don't understand what the big deal is. And one lady's like, okay, you need to go down to Hall B, go up the stairs there, then it'll lead you all the way around the top of the convention center and then back down, and then you'll be able to go in. I'm like, are you sure? Because I've asked 7 people so far, and no one has known the answer. I don't. You guys are wearing walkie-talkies. What are people saying on the walkie-talkies? She's like, no, trust me. This is the way to go. I'm like, okay. So we go up the stairs, go all the way around the back side of the convention hall, down another set of stairs, and then finally we get to go in with like 2 hours left of preview night. But it's just a perfect example of how poorly organized this huge event is.
I feel like every year we mention how it's poorly organized, and being like how much money they make. Right. You know, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure. Like, I wonder what like the number of people who attend Comicon is, but I want to say it's like 150,000.
That's kind of, I was thinking 100,000. Like, easy, has to be.
Oh, cool. The internet is not working here. Yeah, I want to say it's okay. I want to say in years previously, it was somewhere around the 150,000 range, and it just. Okay, I'm just going to close that. And like, that's a lot of people. I mean, you should see the streets of San Diego when Comic-Con is in full force. And I mean, like, the entire city is taken over. And I understand that's not an easy thing to organize, right? But at the same time, you know, it's like every ticket for a 4-day pass is like $350, call it. And if you multiply that by, 150,000, that's a pretty big chunk of change. Like, maybe we could get it so that we could have a better organized system where the people actually know where to go, how to get people in. It looks like the 2019 con attracted over 130,000 attendees.
How many?
130,000.
130,000?
Yeah. They said it was over 130,000, but that seems about right. So we're because not everyone gets the 3 nights, but we're talking about like $39 million. Right. Exactly. Not to mention all the money that the vendors have to pay to have the space there.
Not only the free labor of the volunteers.
Volunteers, yeah.
So very little money is like spent.
Yeah, dude, it's so frustrating. But it wasn't all frustration. I mean, I will say it felt amazing to be back down there after having spent the last 2 years like hiding in our homes, not going to big outdoor events and stuff. It was a lot of fun to be back, and we saw a lot of cool things. What were some of your favorite things that you saw there, Christian?
I mean, the cosplays. There was a shit ton of amazing cosplays. That's a given. You always see that.
I will say it seemed like there was less cosplays this year. I think so.
I saw a decent amount. You always see the regulars.
I guess the ones that I didn't see were some of the real intricate ones, and I was thinking maybe it was because, we were never sure that this was going to go, actually happen until like late this year. So maybe they didn't have enough time to build the big things and stuff. There were some really good ones, but
we saw the guy you see every year, the golden samurai Darth Vader.
Yep.
Although he looked like he had a C-3PO one, he looked like he had made some new ones.
Yeah.
I really don't get that one, but he's there every year.
Yeah. It's always funny to me when people have like the one cosplay that they do every year, and that's like their whole identity.
There was one guy that was dressed up as the Red Panda from the Pixar movie. I forgot the name of the movie. But
I think it was called Red.
Was it just called Red?
Something like that.
But he did it out of cardboard. It was pretty funny. It took up a lot of space though. But.
Yeah. I saw a really good Megatron one where he was actually up on kind of stilts. And it's like Megatron from the cartoon version of Transformers. So he had the big old cannon thing, and he's walking around.
Some guy made like a life-size Wall-E, which was pretty dope.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see that one.
He
But
had a
everyone
remote
said
control.
that was cool.
And behind him, he had one of the repair droids from Star Wars riding a bicycle. It was pretty dope.
Very cool. I did see a cool Melania and Ronnie the Witch cosplay from Elden Ring.
Oh, that was on the last day, I remember.
Yeah.
And she even had the bottom arms, which are dope.
Yeah, exactly. And it was surprising that I didn't see more Elden Ring cosplay, considering how big of a game that was. But those
are. I doubt someone would be like one of those big, giant, hulking ones.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. Be Radon on a tiny little horse. That'd be pretty cool. But yeah, there were some good ones for sure.
There was the girl who dressed up from Love, Death, and Robots.
Yes, that one was incredible.
The golden lady.
The Aztec goddess or whatever. That was really good. She looked incredible. Lots of good cosplays. What was your favorite like exhibitor or thing that you saw as far as like a booth or what have you?
There was a lot of shitty exhibitors.
Yeah.
I don't know why these guys. I don't know how they run businesses or how they stay. And I feel like since I was a kid, I've just always run into douchebag comic book sellers. Like there's just, I don't know.
Talking mostly about people actually selling comic books.
Selling comic books, and I feel like throughout my whole life, I've always run into these guys who just think they're better than their clientele or something, like
gatekeepers.
Fucking so many, man. And they were jacking up their prices to 2 to 3 times the going rate for certain books. I went in looking for first appearance of Hercules, and yeah, just ridiculous fucking prices. And I finally found this guy, and I don't remember his store, but his name is Anthony. And this dude, maybe next week.
I think it was called Anthony's Comics.
I think it was Anthony's Comics. That guy was a fucking G, dude. His prices were right at the going rate, slightly above, because obviously you got to make profit.
Sure.
And he didn't have the book I wanted. I asked him, but he was like, you know what? I've seen it. And he was going through boxes, and he was pulling out other boxes, and he was going crazy looking for it. And I told him, hey, man, I could go, and I'll be back if you find it. And he was like, no, just wait right here. I know I got it. And then he was finally like, you know what? I think one of my employees sold it. I'm really sorry. And I'm like, hey, dude, no, I just appreciate you took the time to look for it. And I
took the time out of his day to try to find it for you.
And I even told him, hey, man, you're one of the coolest guys here who's selling stuff right at the going rate.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah. He's like, a lot of these guys, they want to take advantage of new collectors.
Impulse buyers.
Yeah, and they don't know what prices are going for, and they jack it up super high. And he's like, I want to sell to actual collectors, He's like, I'm not trying to take advantage of people. And I was like, dude, you're awesome. I was like, let me get your card. And I was like, I'm definitely going to buy from you. I was like, do you sell online? He's like, yeah, I ship. I was like, awesome, dude. I'm definitely going to buy some books from you. Solid guy. He took my name and email. He's like, if I run into that book, I'll email you and I'll hold it for you. He's like, dude, I really appreciate that, man. Thanks. And I was a little bummed out I didn't spend any money there because, he was such a nice guy, but he didn't have anything I wanted. He also had a lot of original art that was dope. Yeah, he was a great dude.
Yeah, I mean, the idea of these comic shops who send, a bunch of people to the convention to sell comic books, you would think they're trying to offload as much as possible because guaranteed more people are going to look at their collection of comic books at Comicon than any week at their store. You know what I mean? And it always surprises me when they want to be assholes about it. Because not only does that make it so those people aren't going to buy from you that day, but now you're never going to, if they see your shop, wherever your shop is located, why am I going to go in there? Because it's just going to be the same story in there. The dudes aren't going to help you out or whatever. So a little customer service goes a long way. And I think that that's one thing that a lot of comic shops have suffered because, look at The Simpsons, right? They have the comic book shop guy from The Simpsons.
They're all like that. Well, I won't say all, but the majority.
They're not like that, but there are enough like that has become a stereotype that shows up in The Simpsons, right? And it's for good reason.
It's fucking weird. Dude, you're a nerd who sells comic books. I'm a nerd that wants to buy comic books. We should be friends.
Right.
You have what I want. I want to buy it. It just should be even playing field, but like like throughout my whole life, I honestly thought growing up, it's like I'm poor and they can smell it. They get like I'm poor and they know I can't afford the books that I want. It's like now I have money. Like now I spend, but I'm treated the fucking same. Like what? I was like, okay, it wasn't because I was poor. It's just that these guys are fucking assholes.
No, yeah, it's a big problem, and you see that a lot. We've talked about it with people like B. Dave Walters about the idea of gatekeeping, where like this is their thing, and they look at all of us as outsiders, even though we're not outsiders because we're at Comicon. But you know, it's that mentality that has kind of shot themselves in the foot. But yeah, that's unfortunate. I will say most of the people I talked to at the various booths and stuff were all super chill. You know, got some cards from people who, you know, maybe didn't have the item I wanted in stock, but they're like, hey, you know, I can get it for you or whatever. So overall, a lot of the other vendors I thought were very good.
I have everyone's card. It was cool, and I just didn't bring my bag. But maybe we'll do shout outs next week. Just
yeah.
Because there was I know we're like talking shit about because you always remember the bad people very easily, and you tend to like the good people just kind of follow
exactly. You always remember the worst restaurant you ate at, never the best restaurant you ate at. You know. I will say it was cool seeing the guys from BB Create there again. They do the.
I'm actually happy that they're getting bigger. Their booth was bigger. They had a lot of people.
They had a lot of cool designs. For those of you who don't know, BB Create, they do a lot of nerdy themed enamel pins, but they also had like stickers and stuff like that there as well. But they started off where they would take BB-8 from the newer Star Wars movies and just like put him in different like clothings and stuff. So like there would be one with a Giants hat on, one with a 49er helmet, that sort of thing. So picked up some pins from them, and they always have some cool designs. So it was really fun seeing those guys again. I think probably one of my favorite booths experience things there was the Game of Thrones House of Dragons thing, which also was a long wait in line.
We had fun though, man. We were with friends.
Yeah, exactly. And that's part of the fun. It's like, you know, you're waiting in line for hours and hours and hours, but you're hanging out with some of your favorite people. So, but what was cool about this one, this was actually outside of the convention. They had built a castle that said Game of Thrones House of Dragons on it. And we got to the line at about 10 o'clock, 10:30 in the morning. And we asked one of the guys working there, we're like, hey, how long's the wait? He's like, it should be about 4 hours from here. I'm like, okay, you know, it's a Comic-Con line, so, you know, that's not too bad. So we get in line, and 4 hours later, we're only like maybe halfway there. We're like, what is going on?
I almost called it.
Yeah.
I was an hour off.
Well, here's the thing is like, when you're 4 hours in, and you're halfway there, you've already wasted 4 hours. Are you going to like leave the line and just
we were committed.
admit defeat? So we waited in line. I think it took a total of like 7 hours to get there.
I had said 6. I was off by 1.
Right. But once you get up to the front, we get there and there's like actors and there's soldiers, musicians, vendors and stuff.
Thieves. There was 8
thieves. Yeah, there was a thief. And they're all acting as if they're in, you know, the Game of Thrones universe, which was really cool.
And shout out to those actors. They probably wouldn't give us their names, but like, I don't know how long they were there, but they definitely stayed in character the whole time.
Right.
In that heat, with the costumes they were wearing, and they were all like in a good mood. So like,
they were joking around and singing songs and stuff. It was really amazing.
I got arrested.
Then they let us into the castle, and there's like this dragon Targaryen acolyte guy who's like telling us all about like how Targaryens picked out their dragons and how they hatched the eggs and stuff. And we all picked up these big dragon eggs, and we're supposed to like, you know, like say what brought us here and why we're interested in dragons.
Which they asked Cody.
And then they asked me. I was like, I don't know. I just love dragons so much. He's like, good answer. I'm like, all right. And then we take these eggs into the next room, and we have to drop them in these. They had these like smoking, bubbling, like volcanic, you know, pools, and you have to drop the eggs down in there.
Well, they said place it carefully, which everyone did.
Yeah. And then our friend Julianne, she's like, gook. And went boom, 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 boom.
I saw the whole thing.
Yeah.
I saw she, you know, she's such a sweetheart. She was trying very hard to like put it in, but she was also recording, and then it just slipped out of her hand and just blook. It was super loud, and she was like, "Oh no!" It was hella funny.
Would have cracked a couple of yolks if it was a real dragon egg. And then we go into the next room, and there's the Iron Throne there, and it's like the Iron Throne from the show, where it's not just the chair, but there's other swords and stuff leading up to it. It was very cool, and you got to sit in the throne and take a picture. And there was actually 2 musicians in there who were playing Game of Thrones music on actual instruments. Who knows how long they'd been playing that shit, you know? And then there's this other lady who was playing like a noblewoman or something. And she actually walked me up to the throne.
Oh, that's right. She was looking for single men.
She was looking for single men, and I was like the only one who did it. And so walked me up there, and then we got to take a picture in the throne, which was awesome. And then at the end, we got to do this NFC thing with this app on our phones, which let us hatch a dragon in an augmented reality app, which is kind of cool. And it's kind of like a mix between like Pokemon Go and like a Tamagotchi, where you have to like feed it and train it and tell the commands and stuff, which it's been pretty fun playing with that. I
haven't fed him in a day.
Yeah, your dragon's probably dead. But it was a really cool experience. I don't know if it was worth the whole 7 hours or whatever. Oh, we got little pins too for it, which was nice.
The actors to me is what made it dope.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
They were great.
It was like once you got into the castle area, it was super cool.
I should shout out to Tim. The reason why I got arrested is I was asking for the back room.
Oh, nice.
And I got arrested. There was no back room.
Yeah, but super fun. And you know, there's always cool experiences like that. You just have to know kind of where to look in Comic-Con. But so what was your opinion overall? Was it good to be back overall?
Yeah, 100%. I loved it. It was so much fun. Yeah, man. Comic-Con is always great inside. I love going in there. The outside stuff. Even I've always told people when they're like, "Oh, I've never gotten tickets." Like, dude, it's fun to just go. There's enough stuff outside that's free.
Yeah, I mean, anyone could have gone to that Game of Thrones.
Yeah, you didn't need a badge or anything.
Right.
It was free. You could have just gone. You just had to commit 7 hours to get in there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was a great time. Great to be back. Obviously, there's some little bumps in the road and stuff as far as organization goes, but overall, it was still an amazing time. And it was cool hanging out with all the friends and stuff, going out to dinner, going out to lunch and stuff. It was just a great time. Oh, we saw Bruce Campbell, which was cool, and Terry Crews, which was cool. Just saw them kind of as we were walking around the exhibit hall. But yeah, overall good time.
I think I saw Dave Bautista dressed as a Silver Surfer.
There's no way that was Dave Bautista.
It could have been. He was, dude. David, my brother David, was also. I at first said, I was like, dude, is that Dave Bautista? He was like, no, and he's looking. He's like, fuck, maybe. He's like, I don't know anymore. He's like, it did look like him.
It was definitely not him, but he was a buff guy, spray painted silver with a surfboard, so close enough. We did hear some of the things released in the Hall H panels. There was a Shazam 2 trailer, which I'm sure will be fun and interesting.
I haven't watched it yet, to be perfectly honest.
It should be, it should be cool. It's him like kind of dealing with like the Shazam family again, and there's these other gods played by Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu, who are like upset that Shazam has given his powers to other people because he has the whole Shazam family, Shazam fam, and they're fighting against that. So looks interesting. It's probably gonna be fun. Zachary Levi's always a good time. There's the Black Adam trailer, and The Rock came out.
That I did see, where he was like
he was like levitating,
he was levitating
kind of thing. And then everyone in the crowd had these little lanyards that had a lightning bolt on them, and they all started going off at the same time when he was out like lightning and stuff. So
I know a lot of people are thinking because it's DC, it's gonna suck. I'm hoping it doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, I always hope that DC doesn't suck, but they keep letting me down over and over and over again. No mention of the Flash at the Warner Brothers thing.
Come on, man. He's too busy being arrested in Hawaii.
Then there was a Star Trek panel where they brought out Sir Patrick Stewart, and they talked about Picard Season 3, which apparently is going to bring back almost the entire crew of Star Trek The Next Generation, which is really exciting. We're going to see Beverly Crusher, Worf, Geordie LaForge, and others, Jonathan Frakes and Deanna Troi as well. So that's exciting news. I'm a big Trekkie. Apparently there's going to be some crossover between Strange New Worlds or Brave New Worlds. I always get that wrong. It's one of the two.
Because one's a video game, and that's Strange New Worlds, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay. Maybe Brave New Worlds then. But the Star Trek one with Captain Pike, apparently there's going to be some crossover between that and the Lower Decks, which is the animated show, which seems really interesting. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
They're going to have like the people who voice the Lower Decks play themselves.
That's hilarious. I've seen a couple episodes of Lower Decks. It's super funny.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm excited for that. Then there was the Marvel panel where they had the Wakanda Forever trailer that came out. What are your initial thoughts on that one?
I mean, I've read the whole. Someone had leaked the whole plot line. I read it. I'm not gonna say anything. I don't know. I was pleasantly surprised. Outside of the CG from Black Panther 1, I was pleasantly surprised. I'm hoping, it's the same,
I hope
but
it's good.
We'll see.
I like that they showed Namor and he's got the little wings on his ankles. That was
He had it as a baby.
That was one of my non-negotiables. He has to have those.
He had it as a baby. We're hoping he keeps it as an adult.
Yep. I'm hoping.
I'm hoping that they make him mutant, but I feel like it got announced that they weren't. I'm not too sure.
I mean, it's hard to say because mutants just got announced in the MCU.
They might not mention in the movie, but maybe later,
right?
Because that's the whole ordeal. Is like Atlanteans are blue, and he's not, and he's a lot stronger and can do other things that Atlantean can't. And it's because he's half
and he's
Atlantean.
got wings.
Yeah, and he's got wings. He's half Atlantean, half mutant.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I hope it's good. I think that's going to be one of those ones where we just have to kind of wait and see what happens with that one.
There was also She-Hulk.
She-Hulk, new trailer.
So I will say this. I was not interested in She-Hulk.
Oh, yeah?
Not because of sexist reasons, but because the first trailer...
Because you hate women.
Yes, exactly. No, the first trailer they showed, like, the CG on her looked really bad. Yeah. But when they showed Hulk, he looked great.
Well,
and
yeah.
I'm like...
It's one of those Control-C, Control V. They have the assets that they've been making of Mark Ruffalo for years now.
Yeah.
So they can very easily put that character model in there.
And that's what I was hoping.
She had to, they create from scratch.
But in the new trailers, I'm like, oh, she looks a lot better now. I'm like, okay, okay, cool.
Also, we get to see a little teaser of Daredevil in his yellow suit.
I didn't see the yellow suit. I watched the
It's hard to see. I mean, it's not fluorescent yellow, like it was in the comic books, but it does look. You can see lighter on his arms and legs and stuff. So I'm excited for that. I'm just excited for Daredevil. They also announced new Daredevil Disney Plus show coming out. 12 episodes? 18 episodes?
I think, and it's 2024.
Right, but a big chunk.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I hope they keep it the same as it was in Netflix, but
sure.
I have hopes that when they brought it over to Disney Plus, I don't think they changed anything. I haven't rewatched it, but
no, it's still pretty violent. And Deadpool and Deadpool 2 are now on Disney Plus as well.
Right. So I'm hoping they're just like, hey man, like we're just gonna keep it the same way it was, because the Kingpin we saw in Daredevil and the Kingpin we saw in Hawkeye, were
two very different.
Very different, but maybe like also he didn't get a lot of screen time. I don't know. I just hope that it keeps the same energy, equally bloody. Keep it rated R. I'm hoping Deadpool. I mean, they can't do Deadpool not rated R. It's gonna be fucking weird.
Right.
So I don't know. I have hopes that they brought that stuff over and they left it so that they do continue being the same. But I don't know. We'll see.
I have high hopes for it, especially being a longer episode count. Because I think that they've learned their lesson, at least from some of these other Marvel shows that they've done, that 6 episodes is just not enough to tell the stories that they want to tell. I feel like every single one, except for maybe WandaVision, have struggled, and Loki. Even Loki was a little rushed, but they've all struggled from these short 6 episodes runs. So hopefully they've kind of learned their lesson from that. And
I'm hoping it was just like, hey, let's test the waters of making our shows, and like we'll do 6. And I don't know, maybe Disney was hurting from the park being closed and they didn't want to spend too much money. I don't know.
Sure.
But I mean, with Daredevil, there's not a lot of CG. Like, at least not in the Netflix one. It was all like actual,
fight choreography and stuff. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I hope it's good because I love Daredevil. He's one of my favorite characters, and that still stands as one of the best Marvel properties ever put to screen.
Dude, season 2 with the Punisher was fucking awesome.
So good. Even the first one was amazing. I mean,
I just love the back and forth between them.
Yes, it was fantastic. We also there was announced that Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 will be the last outing for these Guardians of the Galaxy. James Gunn was saying there's like other stories to tell, and doesn't mean everyone's going to die, but we're not going to see a Guardians Volume 4. So interesting. I'm excited to see what happens.
Is 4 different than the holiday or the
holiday special? I think is a Disney Plus thing.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's going to be completely different. Volume 3 will be its own movie. Adam Warlock is going to be in that one, which is pretty tight. That trailer never got released to the public because it had some pre-visual stuff in it. They had just finished filming it. So James Gunn was saying he didn't want to release anything without, the full CG in it. So that's something we did kind of miss out on not being in the Hall H.
I really thought they were going to announce the cast of Fantastic Four.
I thought so too.
I really thought they were going to do it.
Yeah. They did announce, titles for the next Avengers movies. It's going to be The Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars, another 2-parter, one after another, just like Endgame and Infinity War. So that's pretty interesting. And also announced that Phase 4 is ending with Wakanda Forever, and Phase 5 will start with Ant-Man Quantumania. So
is Ant-Man this year?
No, it's next year.
Early next year.
Yeah, I think it's like March or something. Yeah. So interesting stuff coming in the Marvel Universe, and a lot of stuff they mentioned at Hall H, but good stuff. But we, I wish we had been there, but it was also nice sleeping in our bed that night.
They have to do Black Suits Spider-Man, right? Secret Wars?
I would hope so.
Like, how can they not? They have to. I mean, they've already brought this Venom thing into the Marvel Universe.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens with that one, but I hope so. I hope it's good. All right,
Blade trailer too. We didn't get. I thought we were gonna get
no Blade trailer. Yeah, and that's not coming out till 2024, 2025 or something like that. It was way out there. Anyway, let's take a quick little break, and then we'll come back and we'll give our review of Jordan Peele's new movie, Nope. We'll be right back. And we're back. All right. So we went and saw Jordan Peele's newest movie, Nope, out in theaters now. His previous ones were Get Out, and then Us, and then now Nope. So this is a third one, right?
Yes.
He's produced some other things like The Twilight Zone and other movies as well.
I only saw a couple episodes of Twilight Zone. It didn't.
Yeah, it didn't grab me.
It didn't. Yeah.
There's something on the wing. That's my favorite. But let's give our spoiler-free review of Nope. How did you feel about it? Is it as good as his other ones? Should people go see it? What do you think, Christian?
I liked it.
Yep.
I liked it, and then I went home and I was thinking about it, and as I was thinking about it, I liked it even more. I know Cody wasn't a huge fan of it. I thought cinematically the shots were great.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a fast-paced Marvel movie or any I feel like movies nowadays are made for people who have like short attention spans where things need to happen, and this one had a lot of breathing room. I really liked it.
Yeah,
I really liked it. I'll just leave it at that since we're going spoiler-free.
I'd say I enjoyed it for the most part, but I felt like it had a couple key problems. To me, pacing was off. Doesn't mean I don't think that it needed to be like full of action stuff, but there were several scenes that I thought lingered too long for no reason. I was definitely like kind of falling asleep in certain parts. I think that the concept was very interesting. I just would have liked a little bit more expansion on, the UFO that we see in the trailer and stuff, and kind of the motives behind it. I'm okay with not everything being explained. Like I don't need like the villain at the end kind of explaining their master plan, but I felt like the stuff that I wanted to know more about, we never learned about. And the stuff that I don't give two shits about, we learned quite a bit about, right? So that'd be my one. I think it's still worth a watch for sure. It's definitely it is beautifully shot. Like the cinematography of the movie is fantastic. I feel like, it definitely had some interesting visuals, and it looked amazing. I just think I wanted a little bit more from, kind of like with Us, where like I would have loved to hear about more of the people, the doppelgangers or whatever. I would love to hear a little bit more about that. I feel like that was kind of my same complaint with this one. I think it's still a good movie. It's just it doesn't top Get Out or Us for me. Which is not, I like both of those movies quite a bit. And I still like this movie as well. It's just like, I think this is my least favorite of the three.
I enjoyed the pacing. It felt like at times it felt like a Western, where things aren't always like, set in a ranch. Things are chilled, things aren't necessarily rushed. Life is slower. It's not like city life.
Right.
And then at times it felt like a sci-fi movie where things were like happening really, really quick. And then there was horror movies that were like pretty good. And once we go into the actual details, we get into it.
Yeah. So, I think it's worth a watch for sure. And I think it's worth it to see it in theaters too, just to really see, like I said, the cool visual aspects of it. But now we'll get into a little bit of spoilers. So if you have not seen the movie Nope and are planning to and don't want to be spoiled, you might want to pause the show now. Keep it playing in the background so we get those views or listens. But we're going to start talking about the overall plot of it starting now. So I think, a kind of a complaint that I had with the movie is this whole time, we're wondering what's happening with this UFO that we keep seeing it over and over and over again, right? And then at the end, it kind of all of a sudden turns into a big creature, which is cool, but we don't get any explanation of the creature's motives, what it was, where it came from, why it was here. We don't get any sort of explanation at all or a hint at it. Even if it was just a hint at like if we found out why it was always sucking up horses instead of people at first, why it would spit out a bunch of these random objects all the time. We never got any of that. We're just left to kind of figure that out on our own. And, to a certain extent, I understand, like, you don't want to explain everything, but I would have liked just a little bit. You know what I mean?
So, I don't remember the subsection I'm trying to remember biology. It's been a while for me, but there's it breaks down to subgroups. But I forgot the name of the group of animals where it's very basic in where it eats and shits out of the same orifice, and I forgot what those are called. Any science, biology majors can correct me later. It ate through its hole, and then it pooped out the metals that it couldn't eat out that hole. I was fine with that. Like, why obviously it's not going to eat metals and coins and all these things. I liked it. I don't need an explanation of the creature, and in fact, that's kind of like things that are unknown are scary. That's what humans fucking don't like. When we don't know shit, it freaks us out. You could watch a movie where you don't see the creature, but you're still fucking terrified. Here, we just don't know where it came from. I was okay with that. Like I was fine with that.
I don't need to necessarily have I don't need the creature to explain its motives and stuff. But what I was kind of hoping for is some sort of visual cues in the movie that helped us as the audience figure out something about it, right? Like we never found out, why it kills power or, why all the electronics start phasing out when it's around. We never found out why it was weirdly attracted to horses first, but then switched to people. Why it was in that valley only and not in a more populated area. Like, we never got any sort of clues as to why it was tormenting this one particular area.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I would have loved a little bit more of that. I really enjoyed the scenes with the chimp. Gordy the Chimp.
Yes, that was actually like one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And that was like terrifying. That was
absolutely.
That was the horror part. You know, it was like.
That was by far my favorite part of the whole thing. And then I really liked when we think we're first seeing like aliens, until it was revealed that they weren't aliens at all. And there was no other reason for it. Like, I would have loved if that was a recurring thing, because that was a terrifying thing too. Like, they're in the dark and like the light switch keeps turning on and stuff. I would have loved if that had turned out to actually be aliens, but it was just a bunch of prank kids, you know. Yeah, I just thought there was a lot of time spent at the Jupiter's Claim theme park thing that just I didn't give a shit about. There was a lot of time, you know, spent with people just staring into the camera, and I was just like, ugh, it was a little too slow paced for me at times. That being said, I think it was still a good movie. The horror elements definitely worked. I really liked when the people got sucked up into the spaceship and we saw a little bit of that. I would have loved to seen a little bit more of that.
I loved when the thing was flying and it had its butthole / mouth open. You can hear the horses like crying, or you can hear the people like screaming when it ate stuff. Like, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that. I thought, you know, I loved how they hid it most of the time. You would just catch a hint of it, like going in between clouds and stuff. That was all really cool looking. There's a lot to like about the movie for sure. It was just, there was a little holding it back from being like, holy shit, this is one of my new favorite sci-fi horror movies. And then like I just felt like the change where it went from being a flying saucer into this big butterfly looking thing.
Oh, at the end, like, yeah. Expanded.
I thought it was so sudden and out of nowhere that it didn't really make sense. I would have liked to have seen it gradually evolve.
Yeah.
Or for some reason why it came out like that. And some reason, like when it sucks up this big inflatable balloon, why did that destroy it?
Well, so it took it in when it was its weird. So I definitely got underwater sea creature vibes from it.
Sure.
Like, it definitely had all of that. And when it turned into the big weird, like almost like a dragon seahorse thing, I felt like it did it so it could engulf that giant thing that was So one thing, the creature only eats things that looks at it in the eye, or when it sees eyes. So if it didn't see eyes, it didn't eat it. And I think, like, you know, it was the big old inflatable balloon and it was looking directly at it. So I felt like it had to get that big to get it. And once it did, it tried to go back down to the size we saw it normally. And that's when, you know, it's full of hot air. It pops and then the thing just like explodes. So I was fine with it. I don't know. I liked it.
But yeah, I don't understand why that would cause it problems. You know what I mean? It's like, it's as if to say that, like, okay, this thing is from, you know, who knows where, outer space, another dimension. We don't really know, right? It can fly silently. It can mess with electronics and shut off electronics. It can suck up people and horses and dirt and stuff and then spit out all the stuff it can't digest. Why does this balloon cause problems? You know what I mean? It's kind of, to me, it seemed like such a cop-out. Like, there was no reason for it, like why that would cause it problems when nothing else did. You would think, like, you know, sucking up people and stuff would really cause it some issues. And also, you know, at the beginning when Keith David, the dad of the two ranch owners, when he gets killed by it pooping out, you know, coins, keys and stuff like that, right? But it never explained why it just went over there and shit on him. You know what I mean?
Shat on, yeah. Well, that was its territory. They had mapped out like where it was, you know, and I don't know. I guess you shouldn't shit where you eat. Maybe for him, it's fine.
Yeah, it just seemed like there was too many things that were just super convenient. You know what I mean? We had never seen, any explanation as to why this balloon would cause it problems. Like maybe if earlier in the movie it had trouble sucking up something that was even bigger than a horse, then we know it does have an upper limit to what it can suck in and ingest, right? But that's why it goes after people and horses, because that's about as big as it can fit. We never had any explanation of that. It was just like she unleashes this thing that is an inanimate object and just expects this thing to suck it up and try to eat it. Doesn't make any sense. There's too much convenience in there for me. But that being said, it was still fun to look at. There were some very intense moments, and overall, I think it's definitely worth a watch. But yeah, for me, it fell a little bit short.
I loved it.
Yeah. But yeah, anything else to say about that movie?
No, it was great. I fucking loved it. The visuals are great. All the actors were great.
Yeah, all the actors did a great job. I love Stephen Young as like this child actor grown up kind of thing. I thought the theme of like trying to harness a wild animal was a pretty prevalent one, and the dangers that lie therein. We had Gordy the Chimp, right, where he was this chimpanzee who basically they trained him to be on a TV show, and he heard some balloons popping and drove him crazy, and he just like fucked up all the actors and actresses. That was goddamn. That scene was great.
That scene was great. I had thought he had killed them, but I guess at the end we really don't know. He could have just possibly just.
Well, we know at least the little girl made it out, and her face was all fucked up. She was the one from the trailer.
Yeah.
I thought that was just a weird thing to put in there. I was hoping that would have something more to do with the aliens, but it was just kind of a weird throwaway shot.
This poor girl got mauled by a chimp as a kid,
and
then eaten by a butthole space monster.
Right, exactly. Can't win. But yeah, I think that kind of theme of you can't really control a wild animal, right? When they bring the horse into the show and freaks out and it kicks the what was it, a pile? It was like a bag or something.
Yeah.
It's showing that these are still powerful wild animals. You can't control them. I thought that was a cool theme throughout, which I thought was pretty cool.
And no one listened to the horse trainer. No one listened to him.
Exactly.
OJ.
OJ.
Yeah, no one listened to OJ when he says, "Hey, don't get near him."
If glove don't fit, the court must acquit.
Damn straight.
But yeah, check it out and let us know what you thought about what was it called? Nope. I think it's definitely worth checking out. I still liked it. It just wasn't my favorite of his movies. I thought Get Out and Even Us were much better made. But I'm excited to see what Jordan Peele does next. I think he's a very talented filmmaker, and it's amazing to see that the guy from Key and Peele